Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
For Cybervenger, today's another deep dive into the 110 controls of the NIST 800-171. Today's control, if we look down here, today's control is 3.6.3, and it just says we need to test the organizational incident response capability. So, incident response plan, that's what this whole family of controls is about. You want to test what you've done every so often so you have some experience. Big reason that this is so important is if you're including backup and disaster recovery, once that kind of incident happens, you need to restore your backups. That's a terrible time to find out that your backups haven't been working properly. You really need to go through that ahead of time. I can't tell you how many times in my career I've run into customers that thought they were backing things up, and then their IT people couldn't restore from the backup. They call us in to try and help them out. And it turns out, they just weren't backing up the data, and it's not there now. Sorry. If you don't back up your data, it's too late by the time you find out. Unless you test. If you find out there's a problem during regular testing, no problem. You just correct the backups, and you're ready for when there's a real disaster. And that thinking carries through with incidents as well. You want to learn who you contact. You want to make sure the phone numbers are still good, the emails are good. If you have a list of vendors to purchase hardware from, and you probably really should have that, you want to call them, make sure they're still in business, and make sure that they're still on your preferred vendor list, whatever, that relationship is still good. There's any number of things like that you don't really know how effective that's going to be until you've done it a couple times. Now, obviously, there's a limit to the test. You don't want to do every step. You don't want to actually shut your business off, unless maybe you make time for some things to go down during a weekend. Yeah, and you want to be able to at least make sure, at a minimum, to be able to boot any servers. Disaster recovery, I think, is huge in terms of recovery from an incident, because you can boot an environment and compare the current environment with what used to be, and it gives you an idea, something live to look at, even if you're not going to roll back to your old data right away. Maybe you're just not quite sure what's going on. It's very nice to have that reference point. So I think disaster recovery is critical for that. And when you test your disaster recovery, that's a part of that. That should be part of that incident response testing. That's something you could usually do if you have a virtualized environment. Bring up your images, poke at them, make sure they look right, test the applications, things like that, without actually taking down your production data. And then you can go through the rest of the tabletop exercise. You assemble a team, you call everybody, make sure they answer their phones, make sure they should know that they're on the team, know what their jobs are, and that everything's clear. Then go through a tabletop exercise. You make up a scenario. You pick a news article of a breach that happened. Pretend it was you, and you go through a mock, writing up an email template. How you decide who you're going to contact, how, make sure everybody agrees that's what should happen. Maybe send out. How do you send out a notification via email if your email system is the thing that went down? Answer questions like that. As you go through, you might be surprised the little things that go wrong during that exercise. That, boy, aren't you glad you're finding this out now than when the proverbial has hit the fan. Because at that point, it's emotionally draining and taxing to be panicked like that in an incident. I've been through plenty of these scenarios where the world as the customer knew it has ended. Their entire system is brought down. They panic. Their IT company had been banging their head on the wall for 5, 6, 7 days by the time they get a hold of us. They bring in a security expert. Sometimes we can't do things because we weren't part of the preparation. Most of the time we can do at least something. And then the emotions are always very high. Things are very tense. People are making mistakes because they're stressed. The stress levels are cranked to 11. Going through these exercises ahead of time will give you a certain feeling of preparedness and readiness, no matter how crazy it gets. Okay, we've kind of done this. We know what to do. We know who to call. We know who's making the decisions. We've gone through the mock exercises. We've thought about various scenarios. We have already talked about and have a general understanding of what our business priorities are, what we would do, things like that. The judgment calls have already kind of been made before the pressure's on, and it becomes more habit. The more you can rely on your monkey brain to just crunch your grunt brain, these do work steps, and the less you have to rely on your creative brain to think and analyze and plan, the better. That should be done ahead of time, because fatigue is a real problem. When you're inundated and overwhelmed by fatigue, and your whole team is, all you have left is your grunt brain. You don't have your creative brain to really think through clearly and logically. You want to just be able to follow a playbook at that point. don't underestimate the human element in a disaster and any kind of incident. And that's kind of what this control talks about. So that's related, and that's control in a nutshell. Just do exercises, go through it, make sure you know what it really is like, do it on a regular basis, quarterly, yearly, something at the very least. That's all I got for this control. I'm Andy. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.